What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Catch the Vision podcast. Today's episode is really special to me, not just because of the conversation, but because of the person I am interviewing. Many people know him as the GOAT of communication, the founder of Team Vision, the creator of powerful frameworks that help people find their voice. But today isn't just about titles or businesses. Today is about the story behind the vision, the moments that shaped it, and how communication can completely change a life. So today, I'm not just interviewing any guest, I'm interviewing my dad. Welcome to the show, Kevin D. Williams.
You know, this feels strange because I'm always the one that's doing the interviews and things like that, but I agreed to do this with you, and so I'm glad to be sitting in the passenger seat.
Well, I welcome you in the passenger seat.
All right.
So I just want to get started. You were born in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and grew up in the projects.
Right.
What did that environment teach you about people believe is possible and impossible?
You know, for me and Kathy, who is my oldest sister, we just saw a lot of hustling, right? And well, I did. I saw because I was a kid that when Mama would go to sleep, I'd sneak outside, get on my big wheel. And you know I'm telling my age because most people don't even know what a big wheel is. And I would be across town on a big wheel. And Mama would wake up and track me down and bring me back home and, of course, whip me. But for me, I just saw a lot of hustling. I didn't see anything that gave us hope at that point or at that moment.
Okay. And when your sister came home crying because kids said people from the projects don't go to college, how did that moment shape your family's future?
So this particular evening, Kathy comes home, and I remember her walking inside the apartment, and she was crying, and I remember Mama was saying, "Kathy, what's going on?" And Kathy looked in and she said, "Mama, the kids at school was making fun of me because they were saying that, people who live in the projects can't go to college." And at that moment, I was watching Mama, and she was like, "That's not true." And I watched Mama made a way to get in college because that wasn't on her agenda.
Right.
Mama didn't even have a driver's license, but she finally got accepted to A&M in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Today it's known as UAPB, University Arkansas Pine Bluff, and that moment that was the defining moment for me. I know for me especially that someone's opinion of you does not have to be your reality. And so that gave me a lot of hope, and it really inspired Kathy.
Got you. That's good. So your mama didn't finish college, but she made a destiny decision that day. What does that teach us about planting seeds we may never see grow?
So even though Mima didn't, and we know her as Mima, RIL, rest in love, Mima. Even though Mama didn't finish college, and the only reason she didn't finish, Kylar, was because at the time, her parents, who lived in a small town called Saratoga outside of Hope, Arkansas, they were ill, and so she had to withdraw from college. But the flame was still there, right?
Right.
And she was like 1 year away from finishing up. But, duty calls when it comes to the family, and she withdrew. And the seed that she planted inside of Kathy, right? Kathy took that seed and, of course, went on to college.
Right.
University of Arkansas, Fayetteville. That was during a time where, blacks wasn't many blacks up on the hill, what they call it, at Fayetteville.
Didn't they still have like those sundown towns? Like
Yeah, they had,
Springfield was a sundown town, wasn't it?
Yeah, we would travel. I remember Mr. Brown. I think Mr. Brown may have been like late 70s. We was on the we was taking Kathy to Fayetteville, and that's before they had cut that tunnel out.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, you had to go up around the hill. That's why they call it the hill.
Gotcha.
And I saw the edge many times because Mr. Brown was kind of, we were wobbling as he was driving. But, that day we dropped her off. And, of course, since then she has, led the way for her daughter, Kylar, to go. Mm-hmm. Her daughter, Kendra, went to Fayetteville. And then, of course, you graduated from the University of Arkansas, Fayetteville. Mm-hmm. So Mama planted the seed. Kathy just kept, watering the seed and harvesting the seed, and that was the outcome.
Why do words spoken over a child matter more than money, status, or like the background?
I mean, because words can make people move forward, or it would stop them right there in their tracks because the understanding is not there. Mm-hmm. And so even, when you were young, and I meant to bring that letter you wrote when you was a kid, mm-hmm. and you talked about, how I wasn't listening and I was always mad at you and things of that nature. And, I didn't trust you. Well, I mean, I only had the communication skills that was given to me, right? Like, I grew up around fussing, cussing, hollering, mm-hmm. and and I absorbed that, and that's what I was giving you. But the moment that I knew that communication needed to be clear, otherwise I was going to lose you, is when you wrote that letter, and that's when I had to make a decision to, get help, get counseling, therapy, get the tools that I needed for communication, and really learn communication. And so I, once that was over with, I just kept learning about communication. So that is the impact when you are clear on what you're saying and you say it in a way that can make someone, do the things that you want to do, right? I mean, moral, decent, and ethical, then 9 times out of 10, the communication will propel them to do something that you want them to do.
And I agree. And I will say that before we enter 2026, December 31st, 2025, I sat there and I said 2025 was probably our best relationship. And it's because you really understood communication. And, if things, even when you was like, okay, school, I might not understand this through text, so let me send a voice message, or emails, things like that. Like, I think in 2025, you really took communication way better than any other year. So I do give you those props.
Yeah, and, so again, going back to communication, when you graduated from, or before you graduated from the University of Arkansas, we talked about you writing a book, mm-hmm. right? That's communication. I mean, I know I had to communicate it in a way for you to take action and write the book. We talked about you coming here to Dallas and, at the time, living with us. Again, all those are tools that is so important for us to understand. Like, it doesn't matter how many degrees you have. It doesn't matter how many certifications you have. If you cannot communicate in a way that is clear mm-hmm. for people to understand, you just got a bunch of degrees and certifications.
Right. Yep. So you said you moved from Pine Bluff to Hope and then to Little Rock. Mm-hmm. And you've been open about getting in trouble when you were younger. What was going on inside of you during those years?
I mean, so growing up in the housing projects, seeing the hustle and everything, and seeing people selling illegal pharmaceutical drugs. You know what I'm saying? So I saw that, and mm-hmm. and of course, and I participated in it, and also I think this is the biggest thing. I never had a father figure.
Right.
right? And so that was a setback for me. Mama, of course, she did everything in her power based on what she knew at the time.
And as a woman,
yeah, to raise me, but to not have a father in my life, right? Then I'm just operating on what I know.
Right.
Yeah.
At 20 years old, facing probation, your life could have gone in two very different directions. What made you choose law enforcement?
All right. So this particular day is during the weekdays in the morning time. Me and and he lives here in Dallas now. Okay. I've been knowing him. I'm 50 something. Okay. 54. And he's 56. So that's 20 some years, 25 years ago, right? At this time, I'm 20 years old, about to turn 21. It's in the month of November, and we are traveling on Markham Street in Little Rock, Arkansas. And this car comes out of nowhere, and it almost hits us, right? Because now we're on the main street, but it comes out of the parking lot,
right,
and almost hits us. And so I'm lugging the driver, white male. I'm lugging him. I'm like this. Meet us over in this parking lot, right? I got something. I'm gonna tighten you up, brother.
Right.
And so we pull over into the parking lot. I jump out the car. He jumps out the car, pull his service weapon on me, and said, "Police." I'm like, okay, I mean, it ain't that serious, right?
Now it's not serious.
Yeah, and so he ended up citing me for disorderly conduct. I go to court representing myself as an attorney, right?
You have chat at the time.
Right. You know nothing about the law. And what's funny, the judge said, we got us a Perry Mason here. And they put me on probation, and they assigned me to a guy by the name of Teddy Morris. Rest in peace, Teddy. He had just retired from the NFL with the New Orleans Saints. So I go in his office. Teddy Morris is like 6'2". I mean, muscle, right? And he said, "What do you want to do with your life, young man?" I said, "Man, I don't know." He said, "I'll tell you what, damn it. You got 24 hours and you come back here the next day, you better give me something or I'm gonna decide for you." And I said, "All right." So I came back the next day and I said, "Man, look, I want to be in law enforcement."
Just choosing something.
Yeah, he said, "Well, listen, stay clean, get off probation. I'll help you out." And he did. I got off probation, and at the time, they were building the new jail in Little Rock, Arkansas, and they were hiring for detention officers. I applied. 3 weeks went by, never heard anything. So I called Teddy Morris up, and I said, "Teddy, listen, man, I ain't heard nothing from the jail." He said, "Give me a week." I said, "Okay." 3 days later, I get a call from Verosia Peters. She was a sergeant at that time. She called me in to interview me. They hired me for a detention officer for the new jail. And that's when I just kind of started putting things together. And then that was during the time when President Clinton was the president. He had introduced that new crime bill to hire an additional 300,000 officers across the U.S. And so I was a part of that grant. And so that's how I ended up going on patrol. And that's when I started really understanding people and of course me, understanding what it's like to live in the neighborhood and live in the hood, right? I knew how people were thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
How did working in law enforcement shape your discipline, leadership, and how you see people today?
So when I was in the police academy, this was a 16-week academy. We was the first recruits to go through the Little Rock Police Department academy. It was 16 weeks. And first of all, I was out of shape. They got me on the physical stuff, but they couldn't get me on the homework. And so my health took a turn, and I had to not participate in the physical activities per the doctor until they could, figure out what was going on. And so anyway, I would pass all the tests, right? And when the doctor finally released me, I knew they were coming for me. So I was getting in shape when they didn't know it. And so what it taught me was, despite the odds against me, right? Anything is possible. I'm going to tell you this, though. One day I had went back up to the jail because I almost quit.
Right.
I almost quit the academy. And I had called Mama, and I'm like, man, I said, they don't call me a racist. Everything in the police academy is mind games, right?
Yeah.
If you can't handle the games that they play in the academy, you won't make it on the streets.
Yeah.
Right? And
it's
so
going to be worse on the streets.
Yeah. And so that day I went up to the jail. I'm like, I cannot go back to this jail. I got to do this. And so when the graduation, we started out with 50 recruits. We ended up only graduating 20. It was 25 of us.
So half of the class was gone.
Gone, yeah. They either flunked the test, didn't pass the physical, or did something stupid, right?
Right.
Yeah. And I remember Dennis Moore, Officer Moore, he was one of the instructors, and he put me on. He said, Kevin, you thought I didn't like you, didn't you? I said, man, I know you don't like me. He said, it wasn't that. He said, I had to be hard on you because I know what's going to be waiting for you out here on the streets. So he said, well, let me tell you this. If I had to ride with anybody, I would ride with you because I know you got my back. And that,
stuck with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Made the difference.
That's good. Do you believe one decision can completely change the direction of someone's life? And if so, why?
I do, because I thought that I would retire from law enforcement.
Right.
However, of course, I was involved in a shooting that wasn't handled right, and it left a bad taste in my mouth. The woman should have been charged with attempted capital murder, but she walked out the courtroom with a misdemeanor assault on an officer. So at that point, I was going in a downward spiral, right? And I remember two events that happened. One, me putting in 90 days to be off to see you do your very first commercial with a bank there in Arkansas. And of course, that didn't happen. And then the second one, of course, the incident with me being involved in that shooting. So that was within that year, those two episodes happened. And so I remember getting an alarm call to a alarm call in a residential area. And so this area was like a gated area. So you have to, put the code in to enter the community. And so when I get to this house, first of all, the house is about 100 yards off the driveway. I drive up. There's this huge wraparound driveway with this huge water fountain. And I'm looking at this house, and it's either a false alarm or an actual burglary in progress. And so when I get to the front door, this white guy opens the door. So it throws me off. And I said, and so, of course, he identified himself to be the homeowner. And it took me about 45 minutes to clear that house because it was 10,000 square feet.
Wow.
Yeah. And as I'm leaving out, I said, shouldn't you be at work like the rest of us? And he looked at me and he started laughing, and he said, can I call you by your first name? I said, yeah. He said, what is it? I said, Kevin. He said, Kevin, I used to be in law enforcement just like you. And I'm looking at this house, and I'm trying to figure out what department he was with, because I'm ready to put in
what paycheck did you get?
Shoes. And I said, man, what department? I need to know this. He said, no. He said, Kevin, I used to be a police officer. And he said, through conditioning and tradition, my parents were public servants. He said my mom worked for the city of Hot Springs, and then my dad was a firefighter for the city of Hot Springs, Arkansas. And so I became a police officer. And he said, I was driving around one day, and I said to myself, there has to be more than life than what I'm seeing.
Right.
And he told me he got involved in investment banking, and him and some other guys partnered together and built a sustainable investment banking company, and they ended up selling for hundreds of millions of dollars. And I said, wow. And I said, man, what is the secret to success? Because, as a police officer, we got a notepad. We always keep a pen right there. I take it out. I'm ready to take notes. He said, Kevin, when you leave here, I want you to go to the bookstore and purchase this book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And so I'm looking at this brother with this white man. And I'm saying, and it's obvious I'm looking at him like this. He said, Kevin, you look at me as if, you don't believe me. And I said, man, listen, anyone who has amassed this type of wealth,
right?
I said, listen, if you told me it was cheese on the moon, I'll go with crackers. I left, purchased that book, Think and Grow Rich. And I didn't, and because you got to understand, I'm in a place in my life, right? I'm ready to do something different because I see all the other officers, they're retiring, and they, most police officers, once they retire, they may live a few years.
Right.
Right? Because
it's a lot of strain on them.
Stress, that gun belt that's about 10 pounds, right? It it puts wear and tear on your back over a period of time. You got a 2 to 5 pound bulletproof vest.
Right.
Yeah. And I said, man, And so at this moment, again, when you start reading things that makes your perspective different, you start thinking different. And so a friend of mine at the time, shout out to Ronald Eddington. He was a bailiff for this juvenile judge court. And he introduced me to the world of network marketing. Some people may know it as network marketing. Some people may know it as multi-level marketing. I know it as it was a way for me to get out. I didn't even know that type of industry even existed. And he said, Kevin, there are people leaving their jobs within, 12, 24 to 36 months. He said, even if you suck at it, if it take you 5 years, there's a possibility. He didn't know, Scooby, that I was looking for something. He caught me at the right time. And that allowed me, within about 18 to 24 months, I had built a team of people, and it allowed me to walk away from law enforcement. And I stayed in that industry for a while, and I learned leadership. I learned, a little bit of networking. I learned a little bit of marketing, and that's how I, made the transfer from employee to entrepreneur.
And do you think that those skills that you learned, do you think that you could have learned that in college, or you think it was something that was just I want to say a miracle, but like you was able to learn that outside of not going to college?
I learned it. So had I taken the path of going to college, right, it'd have been theory.
Right.
Law enforcement is not theory.
Right.
It's like real life scenarios, right? But it taught me to understand people's personality. It taught me how to listen, right?
Right.
Because when you're going into a disturbance, the goal is to de-escalate the disturbance, right? Not escalate it.
Correct.
And, there were times where I had backup and they would try to come in and agitate the situation, right? No. If we don't have
already de-escalated,
right, we can de-escalate and still make an arrest.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. But it taught me those type of skills.
And so why do you believe skills, not degrees, are the real key to freedom today?
Because, again, you're looking at someone that has a PhD. And you all didn't even know that, did you? I have a PhD. I have a public high school diploma, right? But I knew, Scooby, if I mastered communication, right?
Right.
I knew that communication would become the new currency. And in our world today and in our society today, we don't even communicate like we used to back in my time, right? Everything is either text or, it's just not effective communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even like you can see in the economy today where a lot of people who have degrees are complaining because they can't find a job. And you have those that, like how TikTok is, a social media platform where everybody talk about, oh, well, I'm making six figures and I don't have degrees, or people just have certifications, but yet they're still climbing that ladder that we was once told you could only climb if you had degrees or if you went to school.
Well, the world is changing. And again, I go back to, first of all, communication will never go anywhere. If you can't communicate in a way that people understand you in the first 3 to 5 seconds, you've lost them.
Yeah.
Right? So my job is to, educate, equip, and empower individuals, professionals, entrepreneurs, business owners, because that's the skill that they're missing. Again, how is it that someone like myself can, teach, train medical professionals on how to communicate with their patients? And again, I don't have a degree.
Right.
It's communication. At the end of the day, we have to communicate in order to get a result from the individual or the people that we're talking to.
I agree. And so how can poor communication damage relationships, and how can better communication heal them?
So poor communication that means that they're not clear on what's being said, right? Great communication means that it's understood. And a lot of times it's really dumbing down our language, right? Like, first of all, if I can't pronounce the word, I'm staying away from it. Okay? And so I'm going to find a word that's easy for me to pronounce.
Right.
And here's my thought process. If a third, fourth, or fifth grader can understand what I'm saying, I don't have to worry about if grown folks can understand what I'm saying.
Right. In 2014, you and Wendy launched Team Vision LLC. What problem were you trying to solve for everyday people?
Marketing at that point. And it was time for me to transition out of, network marketing and multi-level marketing, right?
Okay.
So we launched, at the time, Wendy was my girlfriend. She's, of course, my wife today. We launched Team Vision LLC. The goal was to help business market themselves. The problem was I was still doing outdated marketing, old school marketing. You remember I used to have you, Kendra, Kylar put all those flyers on people's cars when they had events going on downtown.
And drop them.
Right. And then
fake dollar bills in elementary school, sir.
Right. I had my daughter was doing marketing even when she didn't know she was doing marketing. And
embarrassed.
Well, now the dollar it was $100 bills. We had folded them. Right.
Yeah,
Now
they were still getting people though.
Yeah, that would get people's attention, but putting postcards on people's vehicles, and then we'll wait around till the event was over with, and we come back and out of 1,000 cars that we put on people's vehicles, 750 was on the ground.
Right.
Right. So I had you all to get those back up. I'm like, this is not working. And then I remember in 2014, same year, I get a call from Cordell Chambers. And Cordell he's from Pine Bluff, right? But he has like this Louisiana accent, right?
Okay.
Like it's not a Louisiana accent. It's just a strong Southern drawl, right? He go, "Hey, Coach." I said, "What's going on, man?" "Coach, have you ever heard of Toastmasters?" I said, "What is that? Is that where they meet and have breakfast and eat toast?" He said, No, Coach. It's like a speaking organization. I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, you should check it out." I said, "Okay." And so this is still in Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm checking out 3 different Toastmasters, right? Because I'm trying to figure out which one is a good fit for me.
Right.
And the third one I checked out it's called High Noon Toastmasters. And High Noon Toastmasters would meet every Friday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. And they would get so much done in 60 minutes, whether it's communication, it's public speaking, it's leadership, it's, not using filler words, all this. And then not to mention they had all these distinguished plaques and ribbons. And I'm like, this is it. 3 to 5 months into it, Scooby, I'm in the club. They had the World Championship of Public Speaking. Everything starts on the club level. Okay. There was this guy. He's an attorney. His name is Chris. The year prior, Chris made it all the way to Washington, D.C. That means he joined the other 99 Toastmasters. That means they beat out over 30,000 Toastmasters worldwide. Even though Chris didn't win, he had the experience.
Right.
And I got to go against this guy, right? So it's 4 of us on the club level. The judges come back this particular day. We had the contest on the club level. The judge come back, and, they said 3rd place winner, 2nd place winner, Chris, 1st place winner, Kevin. I'm like, okay, at any moment they're going to come back and say,
we messed up.
We messed up,
we
right?
got it mixed up.
It didn't happen. I said, okay, wow. So on the club level, 1st and 2nd place goes to the district level. And the district level is the representation of Arkansas. So this particular Saturday morning, it's about 20 of us, right? Everybody give their speech. The judges come back. 3rd place, whoever that was. 2nd place, Chris again. 1st place, me. And at this point, I got to accept that I won, because I'm the only one on the district level that's going to go to regional, that's going to take place in Mississippi, right? And whoever wins the regional in Mississippi, that particular year, they're going to go on to Canada to meet up with the other 99 Toastmasters, meaning that you beat out 30,000 plus again, right? This particular Saturday evening, first of all, I'm now getting in the zone. I got to make this work. And then shout out to Chris, who is an attorney. He helped me out a lot, right? And we get to my speech. I nail it. And you ever had deja vu when you see yourself about to take the 1st place award? Like, I was seeing myself going up on the stage, walking up the steps, going up the stage, holding the plaque, with the
pictures.
judge and me holding the plaque. And so they go 3rd place winner, 2nd place winner, and now I'm about to make my way to the stage because I know this is me, right? 1st place winner, Nolan Dillard out of Memphis, Tennessee. I said,
that's when you got it mixed up.
How would you have felt at that moment, Scooby? Knowing that you thought you won, but you didn't win?
Probably discouraged.
That I was. And just to give you the high-level overview, because that's another signature story that I created. The reason why I didn't win is because there's a book called What Got You Here Won't Get You There. And what got me to district, what got me to regional wasn't going to get me to the last position, right? Because I was using someone else's story. Nolan gave his own
personal story,
his own personal story, and so that taught me a lesson. And so from that, I went on to I went back to the club. I asked them, who would they recommend to coach me, and they told me about a guy by the name of Craig Valentine. Craig Valentine was a 1999 World Championship of Public Speaking. He joined Toastmasters in 98, won the World Champion of Public Speaking in 99, and he won with a lisp.
Wow.
So I hired him and went through his certification coaching program. And I always say I've been running my mouth ever since. and that's how I built Team Vision, through speaking on stages, doing workshops, right? Because when you are in front of an audience, you become the authority.
Yeah.
You become the authority.
And so you've worked with over 2,000 business owners and professionals. What is the biggest pattern you see holding you back? Well, holding people back.
Communication. everything goes right back to communication. Yeah.
People not wanting to get in front of the camera or just speak.
We are in our own way, right? Whether it's I don't feel comfortable being in front of the camera. I'm not comfortable, speaking. I always say success is on the other side of our comfort zone.
Right.
So if you're not willing to be uncomfortable,
you'll never be comfortable.
You'll be comfortable and complacent.
Yeah. Yeah. And so why do you say communication but not money is the most valuable currency today?
Because communication is what attracts currency. If you communicate in a way that will propel someone or an audience to move in a direction that you want to. And it needs to be clarity in the communication. The communication needs to be clear, right? And so before we can get any currency, we got to make sure the communication is intact.
Right. And why did you create tools like the pitch framework and the author-speaker blueprint from the page to the stage?
So the pitch framework is a framework that has allowed me to really work with different companies, organizations, associations, one in particular. So this is a Wednesday morning. I'm at a Dallas Black Chamber of Commerce morning networking event. And prior to that, I did a workshop for them, right, on the pitch. And there was a particular company that provides internet service, phone services for residential and business. And the Dallas Black Chamber asked me to come up and teach the pitch. And I taught the pitch. And do you know that particular company hired me? You remember that because you traveled from Fayetteville. You ain't gotta say it, right? But yeah. That was a 5-figure deal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, being at a networking event. Yeah, absolutely. Big. Therefore, I said, okay, let me create the pitch framework. In the pitch framework, there's an acronym for pitch. The P stands for precise. The I stands for impact. The T stands for target. The C stands for clear. And the H is the hook, right? Now, the framework of pitch, when you are doing it, it doesn't have to be in that order. It just need to have every component of each letter, right? And so that is probably one of our biggest services that we provide. And then as far as the author speaker blueprint, from the page to the stage, and I share this with you, there will always be more money in what we know and less money in what we do. So what does that mean? Okay. In our community, the Black community, right? We undervalue our knowledge and we overvalue our labor. The problem with that is that because technology is advancing so fast, right? Most labor type employment is going to be obsolete. It's going to be replaced with robotics and things of that nature, right? If you think about it, Scooby, the highest paid professions are people who use their mind and they use their mouth. The lowest paid professions are people who use their muscles. No disrespect, but I'm going to give an example. Hotels without housekeeping, we won't stay there, right?
Right.
Housekeeping comes in, they clean those rooms, to the best of their ability, right? And yet they're the lowest paid people on the totem pole. Why? Because they're using muscle. I mean, unless you're a professional athlete, right, or a professional bodybuilder, if you're using, if what you do is more muscle driven, you're the lowest paid on the totem pole. And so the author speaker blueprint from the page to the stage is to extract the knowledge that you have, right? All of us have expertise or experience. Yes, if you have 5 or more years of expertise and experience in something that you do, we can monetize that. We can turn it into a book, right?
Yeah.
The book that was created, for what I do, Unlocking Opportunities, the ultimate guide to excelling at networking events and crafting the perfect elevator pitch. First 6 weeks sold 5,000 copies. The book is $20. Now you do 5,000 times 20. I mean, again, this is just this ain't algebra.
Right.
This ain't geometry. This is 5,000 times 20. That's the value of a book. People are paying for knowledge, right? They're going to pay less money for labor.
Right.
And when you can speak in front of an audience and articulate in a way that is clear and there's clarity behind it, you will make even more money. Some of the highest paid speakers are people like former President Bill Clinton, Barack Obama. I think for 1 hour speech, Barack Obama can generate anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000 for 1 hour speech.
That's crazy.
Yeah, making money with his mind and his mouth.
Just sitting back and relaxing and talking.
Yeah.
So what would you say to someone who feels not educated enough, not confident enough, or not good enough?
I would say this, and you can repeat it and make this your mantra every single day. Just tell yourself, I am good enough. Right? You don't have to keep going back getting certifications. You don't have to keep going back getting another degree. You have an experience or an expertise and you have a story, right? That makes you good enough that you can monetize. And so this is why we, every 3 months we do the elevator pitch challenge, right? It's a 2-day free virtual workshop where we give you the tools on how to craft your elevator pitch. And then our, signature service is the author speaker blueprint. Did you ever think that you would write a book?
Never.
Okay. You want me to tell you what probably made you write the book? I always say the speed of the leader, the speed of the team is determined by the speed of the leader. If I had a book, you saw what was possible, right?
Right.
So therefore you went on to write a book. And tell them the name of your book.
This isn't about me.
I know it ain't, but tell them. It's about all of us. This is familypreneur.
It's called 2 Homes, 1 Heart, a guide to co-parenting from a child's perspective.
Right. And so from that, then Wendy wrote a book, right? And her book is called Fashionably Masked because her expertise and experience in fashion and style coaching, individuals and working with businesses, right? And so, if you have that expertise and again that experience, we can help you monetize it.
I agree. In one sentence, why is learning to communicate clearly a life-changing skill?
Well, because it worked with you. Because when you were young, and if I didn't, change my way of communicating with you, you wouldn't be sitting here with me today, right? And so see, if communication can work in our personal life, it definitely can be applicable into business. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think also just how you communicate, well, I can say from our personal experiences, how we communicated prior in my childhood. I think I grew up with some of those tendencies, and I had to realize, okay, if I don't like being talked to like this, why do I think other people would like it when I talk to them? So once I, and I'm glad that you took that change, because once I see you changing, I wanted to change. So I really do think that, if it can happen in your personal life, it can definitely happen in your business.
Yeah, and also, Scooby, for you to want to come here to Dallas, Texas, and had a desire to stay and live with us, that tells me that our relationship is real strong, right? Because if it wasn't, then you would have never came here. You would have, you would have, maybe went back to Arkansas. I don't know, but I know that me communicating with you is important. And, again, I want you, when I, retire from this earth, I want you to have enough information for you to be, that you can be sustainable on your own. Not saying that that's the goal, but you are sustainable, right? Because of everything that I poured into you. Yeah.
Yeah. So final question. When people hear the words catch the vision, what do you want them to understand about their own life and potential?
That we all have a God-given vision, right? But we tend to run away from the thing that we are good at, right?
Yeah.
We tend to do these other things that is not the God-given vision, right? I knew that my voice would impact lives. But growing up as a kid, I would always hear, lower your voice.
Yeah.
You talk too loud, right? But when I got into law enforcement, can you imagine me saying, like, you under arrest?
Right.
Hey, stop running.
On.
Right. Why you didn't have your seatbelt?
Like, who hired you?
Man, I'll pistol whip you with your own pistol, right? But my voice is a voice it's an authoritative voice, and it's a voice that grabs people's attention. But what if I would have suppressed that, right?
You wouldn't be right here.
Right. So I knew that God gave me a gift of using my voice. Now, I had to learn the strategies of using my voice, right? But that was the gift that God gave me.
And speaking of, like, God gave you this vision, I think as the Black community, or maybe I'm just speaking from a personal standpoint, we feel like, oh, well, I'm trying to perfect this before I put it on the market. But I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if God gave you a vision, why don't you just take action of that vision and everything else will come later with it?
Right. And let's talk about, and I agree with you. So here's the thing about perfection. I always say, done is better than perfect, because perfect never gets done. Right. All I need is just a starting point, right? I can figure it out as I go. I'll figure it out as I go. I've always done that.
Yeah. And I can take a test of that.
Yeah.
With, one of the endorsements I got earlier this week, and if I would have just sat back and looked at my social media platform like, oh, I don't have enough followers, I'm not going to, reach out to them, the conversations that I've been having probably would never have been had.
Okay. That's why I said it's important for me to always show you what's possible, right? And it started with Mama, right? When Kathy came in and crying and saying that the kids said that people live in the projects can't go to college. That was, she showed us what was possible. Now, I didn't go to college, right? But I knew that I was destined for something. Yeah, I knew I was destined for something. Yeah.
Well, this conversation is a reminder that where you start does not determine where you finish, and that your voice matters more than you may realize. If something in today's episode connected with you, sit with it, because clearly comfort creates confidence, and confidence creates change. Thank you for listening to the Catch the Vision podcast. If this episode helped you see yourself differently, make sure to subscribe, share it with someone who may need it, and stay connected because your vision deserves a voice. We'll see you on the next episode.
Catch the vision. Catch the vision. Catch the vision.